Hey guys, this is Lee. Do you use an old Sunfish that just has this hook for the main sheet? Well, Ryan asked me a question about how to install a main sheet block. So this video, I'm going to show everyone how to install a main sheet block. Older Sunfish came with a single brass hook to trim your main sheet. That's the equivalent of traveling with luggage without wheels. A main sheet block, on the other hand, is like having luggage with wheels. It makes life a whole lot easier. The first thing to do to install a main sheet block is to actually get all the parts. It's not that many parts, and the block itself is probably the most expensive part. I actually got this one. It's a Harkin 2¼ inch block. It has a ratchet, and I got it at a boat place that sells used boat parts down near a town near me. But sometimes you could find these laying around, especially if bigger boats or older boats. You could use these as turning blocks or spinnaker blocks on a big boat. So maybe you have one laying around. If not, you can go to most boating stores and they will have these. There's a few types of blocks that you can use. I'm going to install this ratchet block. You could always get one also with a cam cleat, which is installed very similarly, but the base is going to be different. This one has a spring, which I just attached it to this loop here because I don't want to lose the spring. You also need, you don't actually need the spring. You could just let the block just lay on the deck. But some people like it sitting up, and that's what the spring is for. You also need a D-ring. This will go onto your boat deck right in the front part of the cockpit on top, and it'll basically held just like that. Exactly. So this D-loop or D-ring, the hole is about 1 inch, and the holes that hold the screws or the bolts are 1½ inches apart on this particular one. You also want to have 2 bolts, like I said, about 3/4 to 1 inch long, with washers, stainless steel washers, because this is what's going to prevent the block from pulling out through the thin piece of fiberglass on the deck. You're also going to need a couple of tools. You're going to need a drill to drill through the deck, and if you keep it where I'm going to show you, you're not going to actually go into the hole. You're just going to go through the little piece. There's a lip, an overhanging lip at the cockpit where it's relatively easy to drill through, and you'll need the drill bits for your drill. And you probably want to get some either masking tape or painter's tape to put on it to prevent chipping of the fiberglass or the gel coat. And then you're going to need something to bolt these on. So I'm going to have an adjustable wrench here, and this one has a Phillips head screwdriver, and that'll work. I like to use stainless steel so this doesn't rust, and that's basically it. Stay to the end and I'll show you a special trick to help you install your spring. So if you don't mind, please spring that like button. So before you drill your holes, you take your loop and you mark it on your deck where you think you should have it. You're gonna have to look underneath. I would measure how much air you have. You want to probably right in the middle. So I'm going to look underneath the lip. I'm gonna take my tape measure and I'm gonna go underneath the cockpit and see how much room we have. And I'm going to aim right for the middle of that measurement. I'm gonna measure 2 or 3 times to make sure I'm pretty good. Measure twice, cut once, they always say. And then I'm going to mark my holes with the D-ring. Put some tape first, mark the holes. And then I will use a smaller drill bit to start the holes, the pilot holes. And then I will increase the width of the hole to accommodate the bolt as I need it. Here I'm using the eye strap to make a positive measurement rather than just using the marks. When you start drilling a new hole, you want to actually go in reverse for a little bit to make a divot so the drill bit does not wander around. Once you get the pilot hole in place, you can then go to the larger drill bit. Next, I check if the width of the hole is large enough to accommodate the bolt, and I will widen it as necessary. For this eye strap, I use number 10 bolts that are panhead and number 10 nuts with 1/4-inch stainless steel washers. Once the nut is engaged on the bolt, you can then hold the bolt with a pair of pliers or wrench and then screw the screw tightly. Then you repeat with the other nut and bolt. I don't feel like you need any sealant or silicone or 4200 or 5200 in this area because the fiberglass is very thin, but it has fiberglass and the polyester resin all throughout it. I don't think you're going to get any seepage of water. But if you feel like you want to put some silicone there to seal it from water, be my guest. Now to install the main sheet block onto this D-ring that's now attached to your deck, all you have to do is remove the split ring and then take out the cotter pin. What do you think? Would you use silicone sealant or not? Let me hear in the comments below. Now the reason why I don't use a spring personally on my boats is that I travel around to different areas and bringing my boat, and sometimes I'll share blocks with different hulls. And putting the spring on just takes a little bit more time, and so since I'm running late half the time, I just go without the spring. If you do want to use a spring, it can be a real problem trying to line up the cotter pin through the holes and then put that split ring in there, and then the spring kind of gets in the way. As we're coming down to the end of the video, as I promised, I'm going to show you a little trick on how to easily install that spring. One simple trick to get the spring on underneath your main sheet block so it holds it up is to compress it and then get it held in by zip ties. Zip ties or cable ties, you can get these at pretty much any hardware store. They're probably in the electrical department. So you squeeze it, you put the cable tie in there, and you tighten it up, help it out. And then I'll put two of them, so one on each side. There you have it. It's compressed, and this should be out of your way to put in the cotter pin. So you slide the U and then the spring over that, and then you put the block and line up the holes and insert the cotter pin. Then you put your split ring in and you're almost done. Then for the final touches, you take a pair of scissors or a knife and you carefully cut off the zip ties. And now your spring is ready. So there you have it. That is how you can install a Mainsheet block on a Sunfish. It's pretty simple to do, and if you like this video, please smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, it helps us out a lot, and press that notification bell so you know when I come out with a new video. Thanks, and see you on the water. One tip that I would say is before you go and buy anything, bring this to you to wherever you're going to get the screws or the bolts, and make sure it fits. This fits a number 10 machine screw and the appropriate Nyla lock bolt that will lock in it and it won't vibrate out.